Everybody, welcome in. And this is the Hayden Coker Show. A lot to talk about today. As we moved forward over the past weekend, we saw some upsets. We saw some guys win that probably shouldn't have won. And one of those teams was LSU. LSU in Death Valley took on a massive win over Ole Miss. You come back from being down the whole game. You never once led in that game. You kick a game-winning field goal. You can win the game 29-26. LSU wins that game. I thought it was very interesting because not only is LSU a contender, because obviously LSU is a contender, but something about LSU is that they don't necessarily get recognized enough. And when I say this about LSU, I love Garrett Nussmeier, by the way, love Garrett Nussmeier, but what exactly are they? Let me just say this: what exactly does Garrett Nussmeier need to do with that offense for them to progress? For one, let me just start out by saying Garrett Nussmeier does more than enough. Okay, it's the lack of running game. Now, obviously, at Ole Miss, you had over 100 rushing yards, over 150 rushing yards. You played really nice. You can't go wrong with that. But what I am worried about is their rushing game going forward. Their offensive line, a little bit banged up. Obviously, you have Will Campbell, who is the best offensive tackle in the nation. So I don't think you can go wrong there. But when you really take a look at things, break things down, I don't know. So to me, it's just from a certain standpoint, I have to really take a step back. I'm going to digress a little bit, but I would like to. I'm going to look over at LSU a little bit more over the next few weeks. You know, they have a few big games coming up. You just come off a big win against Ole Miss. You've won 5 in a row right now, or what is it? Yeah, 5 in a row, 6 in a row. Yeah. So LSU, with them winning 5 in a row right now, they're on a roll, and I certainly don't see it stopping unless, or in the future, anyways. You have Arkansas this weekend. You're currently a 3-point favorite, so that's going to be a fun game. A lot of people are thinking, hey, maybe Arkansas can get this game. LSU is only a 3-point favorite in this game, so LSU they've got to buckle down because Arkansas has the talent. They have the guys that can do it. So we've seen it before. We are no stranger to seeing this happen. So I would not be surprised. Look at what happened last year. Arkansas just about did it. It was freezing in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and they just about knocked off LSU. So this is possible. Do not think that this is not possible because it can happen. This is SEC football, and week in and week out, weird things happen, man. Weird things happen. And I'm telling you, if these things continue to happen, then we are in for a wild rest of the year. We had one of the strangest years so far, like one of the most crazy football years so far, football season, excuse me. So I definitely think that going forward, with the amount of upsets we've seen earlier on in the season, you had Notre Dame go down, you had Vandy knock off Alabama a few weeks ago. That was crazy. You had Vandy beat Kentucky last week. Kentucky was a double-digit favorite. So you've got a bunch of teams knocking off some teams that they probably shouldn't be beating. And unfortunately, whoever you're talking about, whatever your point of view is, it gets interesting. It gets interesting because whatever your point of view is, it could be good or bad. Whether you're an Alabama fan, it could be bad. You know, or whether you're an Auburn fan, it could be really good. So it's just one of those things that you really have to sit back and think about because how crazy the season has been, there is a lot on the table to end the year. We're only halfway through the season. We've got a lot to go, a lot of football left to play, and unfortunately, there's not enough of it. There just never will be. So, but the introduction of the 12-team playoff really helps. This is the Hayden Coker Show presented to you by Chick-fil-A, the Chick-fil-A in Pell City. You can go down there. You can get the honey pepper pimento cheese chicken sandwich. Oh, my man, it's out of this world. You got the banana pudding shake, and you can cater for your game days. So we're going to talk about a little bit right now is catering for your game days. If you're looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this season, well, then you can let Chick-fil-A cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nuggets, mac and cheese, chocolate chunk cookies, and chocolate fudge brownies. Perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app, online, or by calling ahead and pick it up at the Chick-fil-A in Pell City. Or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the game with your friends when you take cooking off your plate. It's fun. You don't got to worry about cooking or anything like that. And availability and order requirements may vary. You can check with your local restaurant just to be sure. By the way, if you have not heard, you can go to your app every Saturday, whether it's during the Alabama game. it's certain things each week. So I know a few weeks ago it was a defensive touchdown, then you got a free fry or something like that, something along the lines of verbatim. So, uh, by the way, great business. So go down to Chick-fil-A in Pell City, cater your event, whatever you want to do, they got you, guys. And I do want to mention J&K Tires and Services, guys. Before my trip to Oklahoma a few months ago, I went and got my tires rotated. I got them changed. And I got my oil changed. These guys will take care of you. The other day, I went in there and got my oil changed. And let me just tell you, I fell asleep on the couch in there. And after I fell asleep on the couch, I woke up, started talking to some guys, had a certain camaraderie. Guys, it's Asheville, still, all the little areas, all the little towns combined. It's just a really fun time. And guys, I would also like to tell you that you can also go tomorrow night to the Asheville versus Hoax Bluff football game, and you can catch Chick-fil-A because it is Chick-fil-A night, and you have the guys like Cody Mealer will be there, Brian Jennings, all those guys will be there, and everybody at Chick-fil-A, and the cow will be there. So it's going to be a good time. So go down to the Asheville football game tomorrow night and witness that. Now, this weekend we have a few games that I would like to highlight real quick, and one of those games that I want to mention, not spend too much time on, is Indiana versus Nebraska. You have Kurt Cignetti, first-year head coach at Indiana, 6-0. He's got the Hoosiers at 6-0 right now. Now he's playing a tough Nebraska team. Nebraska has not allowed a rushing touchdown all year, so that's an interesting stat there. What is Indiana going to do with this game? Because I think Indiana is going to win this game. I will pick Indiana, but it will be interesting to see how Indiana goes about the rest of the year. You've got some tough games coming up in the near future. You've got Michigan State. How's that one going to go? You've got Ohio State. That's a ranked opponent. I think it'll be very, very interesting to see how Indiana fares off down the road. Jerry White chimes in. I see you, Hayden. Hey, brother, how you doing? And Marty Gaston chimes in as well. Hope everybody's doing well this afternoon. But, yeah, guys, this is an interesting college football weekend. You've got Missouri and Auburn, which is taking place Saturday at 11 o'clock on ESPN. That's going to be a fun matchup. And I think that the Tigers are going to win that game. Now, which Tigers you say? Let's break it down real quick. So, defensively, Auburn right now, currently, this defense for Auburn is very, very young. They've been solid against the run. Very, very solid against the run. Now, you have guys like Keldrick Falk who are a little more seasoned. He's a sophomore, but he plays like a senior. Then you have Jalen McLeod, Austin Keys. These guys on the front seven who can really get you going. These guys are, downhill linebackers are McLeod and Keys. Those are the type of guys that you're going to need in this game because Missouri can run the ball. Now, the status of Nate Noel is unknown at the moment. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. He's questionable right now. But what I would like to see from Auburn on Saturday is how they attack that offense. Because for one, Brady Cook has not been proven this year. He's not proven that he is the guy who can get things done for that offense. He's not taking those steps that we all thought he would take. You have Luther Burden and Theo Wish Jr. out on the sides. You have a really good tight end out there as well. What I would like to see from Missouri is utilize those guys a little bit. You have one of the best wide receiver cores in the country, and the fact that you haven't put more numbers than you already have is kind of insane to me. But it is what it is. If you're Missouri, you have to think that maybe Eli Drinkwitz and company are going to get this thing rolling. But unfortunately, right now it doesn't look like it. You saw what Texas A&M did a few weeks ago. Absolutely mauled Missouri. Texas A&M was flawless that game. Missouri didn't do anything at all. So I certainly think that there are a lot of problems going on with Missouri. Now, those problems I believe they're going to be addressed on Saturday around noon. I think that Auburn goes into Missouri and wins this game, and I think they win it outright. I think they go in there and they just outplay, they out-physical, they outplay Missouri, and I think that they win this game outright. Now, I'm not saying they go in there and win by 10 or 14 or 20. I'm saying it's going to be a close game, but I think that Auburn will prevail. I think that Auburn has proven they are a better team than what their record shows. You saw that a little bit against Georgia. You saw it a little bit the week prior. But, guys, the one thing about Auburn is they aren't turning the ball over as much as they were in the first few games of the season. Now, Peyton Thorne goes out there, throws 2-3 picks. You can come back to this live and say, hey, you know what? You were wrong. And I will gladly take it on the chin. But for right now, they aren't turning the ball over as much as they were. And that's exactly what this Auburn team needs. Because you eliminate turnovers within the first 5-6 games, you're 5-1. You're 5-0 going into the Georgia game. Obviously, you have what happens against Georgia. But I mean, realistically looking at things, if you don't turn the ball over 5 times against California, you win that game. You don't turn the ball over a few times against Arkansas, you win that game. Now I get it's all ifs and buts, which we don't play that in college football, but to a certain standpoint, you have to look at it and say, maybe this team isn't as bad as we actually think they are. So I think that Auburn is in for a statement weekend. I think they win against Missouri, and they prove that they are one of the not better teams in the SEC. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is I think that they prove that they are not what everybody is saying about little old Auburn. Now, Alabama, on the other hand, they play Tennessee in Neyland Stadium. This is going to be a fun matchup. This is going to be a really fun matchup. The thing with Tennessee is that their offense has been absolutely terrible these past few weeks. You get shut out in the first half in 2 consecutive weeks against the powerhouses of the SEC, Arkansas and Florida. Now, I get both of those teams, not bad at all. So, and I'll say this about Florida: I don't think Florida is a bad team. Florida is not a bad team. They have a tough schedule. They are, I believe, they are an average team. Now, you have Graham Mertz go down to a torn ACL. How does that go into play for the rest of the season? How does that affect Florida? Now you're going to have true freshman DJ Lagway in. See what he's going to do. So I certainly think that the inexperience will show for Florida, but that's aside from the point. I'll digress a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more about Alabama and Tennessee. I think that Tennessee's in for a very, very bad Saturday. And I'm not saying that Alabama blows Tennessee out, because Alabama's not playing the best football either. You get on your home turf, by the way, you struggle against a very, I won't say very bad. You struggle against a not so great South Carolina team, and you really shouldn't have. You should have won that game by 20. And I get it. You're coming off a tough loss to Vandy. This should be when you bounce back. This is not a time to fool around and dilly-dally around and almost lose to unranked South Carolina, which would have been your second unranked loss in 2 weeks. Well, there wasn't an unranked loss in like a decade and a half since with Alabama. Ever since Nick Saban got there, guess what? That kind of stuff did not happen. And the last non-conference unranked opponent they lost to, guess who? So I don't understand what necessarily happened there. I get it. Those things happen. It's college football. But back-to-back weeks, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like Alabama is all there. Excuse me, I got the hiccups a little bit. But it doesn't seem like Alabama is all there. And we will talk about that a little bit later on in the week, or this weekend, really. But I think that it's interesting, because if they don't turn things around soon, then I think that they will be in for a rude awakening when it comes to LSU here in a few weeks. I believe it's the first weekend in November. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how this Alabama team fares off. But I'm going to go ahead and take the Crimson Tide on Saturday. I think that they beat the Tennessee Volunteers, and there will be no Rocky Top playing. But you know what will be playing is the Alabama players with a cigar in their hands. Alabama fans around the country with cigars in their hands. Then you know what they'll be singing? Sweet Home Alabama. Because Alabama will win this game on Saturday night, and that just leads me into the next few games that we're going to talk about here. Alabama wins, and then another SEC opponent, 2 SEC opponents. We have a really, really big matchup in the SEC. The number 1 and 2 teams in the SEC right now, in my opinion. You have Georgia and you have Texas. Now, Texas is unbelievably good right now. Kevin Moore says, how about Oklahoma State? What's up, big dog? Kevin Moore says, what's up, Oklahoma? Or how about Oklahoma State? And Alana, if you're watching, I'll just let you let this sink in for a minute. Man, they're terrible. Alan Bowman is absolutely terrible. Unfortunately for the football team, it is not their year. I don't know what Mike Gundy has going on over there, but it's not great. It's just not great. The offensive coordinator has got to go. The defensive coordinator has got to go. This is one of the worst Oklahoma State teams I have seen in a while. Oklahoma State's been a really good team over the past few years. They were supposed to compete for the Big 12 this year. Heck, they were supposed to win the Big 12 this year. And now you're one of the worst teams in Big 12 play. Come on, dude. I am very shocked at how this has gone. But and by the way, the stadium, I have a few pictures of the stadium. I'll be sure to you can go to my Facebook and look at some of those from a few weeks back. but the stadium is absolutely beautiful. Boone Pickens Stadium is beautiful. I love the layout. I love how it just sits like right on top of the field. It's amazing. It's a nice little brick field. Now the turf though, it is hot. I was informed a few weeks ago that the temperature around or on the field was, I believe it was 129 or in the 120s. So that that can't fly. That I say that can't fly. That's not good. That's not fun to play in. I know, but no. In all reality, I think that Oklahoma State has a rough few years under their belt if they are going to continue to play like this. Like I said, I think you need a new offensive coordinator. Mike Gundy has got to get things rolling. I get he's alumni. I get he's pretty much a legend there. But at some point, you have to think that that's not working out. And maybe it's soon, but I highly, highly doubt it. I highly doubt it'll be soon. But back to the Georgia and Texas game. I think that Texas is going to win this game. They're playing at home in DKR. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about Texas real quick. Texas's defensive line, and let me just tell you this. I did not think that Texas on the defensive side of the football would be that great this year. They lost a lot of key pieces on that defensive line. They were a very seasoned defensive line. Now, I get it. This is a very, very good defensive line. And I didn't expect that. The secondary is pretty decent, but that's what Georgia's going to need to attack, I feel like. But that's the thing. Georgia is not used to getting off to a hot start so far this year. They've been terrible when it comes to starting a war at all. This is a very cold football team when it comes to starting a football game. And I certainly think that things need to be looked at on their end because it's just not good. You had a Kobe Young get arrested, wide receiver for them, one of their best wide receivers. He was just arrested. They're looking into what happened there. I will not repeat what he was arrested for, but just know it's not good. So they're looking into that. They spoke to him, and I'm not sure what all has been said on that end. But I know that Kirby Smart did talk to him shortly after, and that he is not with the team right now currently. So I think that's interesting. But something else about Georgia that's interesting is you just had a quarterback decommit. You had a 5-star quarterback decommit from Georgia. Where's he going to go? I think that's an interesting topic of discussion. Georgia, to me, is, by the way, Georgia is the best program in football right now. Georgia is the best football program in football right now. So we can go ahead and establish that, but then I'm going to counteract this with a question. Now, I already said Texas is going to win on Saturday. I think that Texas is just going to be the more physical team, and they walk away and they win that game. But what I would like to discuss is what I would like to discuss a little bit is what Georgia has going on offense. This is not good. And defensively, last week you give up 31 points to Mississippi State and true freshman Michael Van Buren. All right, so I think that there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this Georgia football team. They are not where they need to be right now. You have Texas A&M making a case for the number 2 team in the SEC right now, all because Georgia and Alabama are in the worst stages of their season. Now, and this will not last long, but Georgia and Alabama have both got to figure it out, because if they don't figure it out before long, there's going to be a massive issue. There will be. I could see Georgia losing another game or two. You have Ole Miss, who is struggling as well. Alabama, you have another game at LSU. You have Tennessee. You have LSU. Those are 2 really tough games. So you have got to figure things out if you're Alabama. Now, Georgia, on the other hand, got to. If you don't figure it out sooner or later, then win. Because if not, it's not going to be good for you. You're going to lose another game or 2 that's on your schedule. Ole Miss, you're going to lose to Georgia. It looks like anyways, especially with how you performed against LSU. You were ahead for the whole game, and then you just let LSU come back and win on you in the final few seconds of overtime. I say final few seconds of overtime. In overtime, you lose on a game walk-off field goal. It's not good, and that kind of stuff should not happen at all. But let me just tell you this. Texas will win on Saturday night. Alabama will win on Saturday evening. And Auburn will win on Saturday morning. So those are a few games that we have in the SEC that will be going down. You have Illinois and Michigan taking place. Number 24, Michigan taking on number 22, Illinois. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. I think that Michigan has a lot to discuss, a lot to work on. They cannot throw the ball. They have got to work. They have got to work on that passing game, because it's just not working right now. I'll take Illinois, and I'll take Luke Altmaier and the guys. I think they really pull this one off. So give me Brett Bielema and Illinois, the Fighting Illini. I like those in this game. Now, we discussed it a little bit earlier. Alabama, what was going to happen with them in the Tennessee game. And I did discuss that. I did think that Alabama would win. I think that Jalen Milroe is going to finally get his feet back under him. He's had a rough few weeks, but I think that he gets his feet back under him, and they win on Saturday. So yeah, that's that, and I certainly wanted to touch on that real quick. For one, just because Alabama, the way that they've been playing has been pitiful, and I think that it will improve. Trust me, it will improve. It has to improve, because if it does not, then like I said earlier, it's not going to be fun, not at all. On October 18th, when Asheville plays Hokes Bluff, it'll be Chick-fil-A night with the Bulldogs. Chick-fil-A in Pell City will be out here to celebrate with us and hand out prizes. At halftime, we will have a kick. We will have a kick for chicken field goal contest, and the winner gets free Chick-fil-A for a year. Free Chick-fil-A for a year. Buy your raffle tickets now for only $5, and we will pick 3 people to compete for free. Chick-fil-A for a year. You must be present to win. Everybody can come out and support the Bulldogs and eat more chicken. That's the Asheville football game tomorrow night against the Hokes Bluff Eagles. Hokes Bluff lost their best player in Dylan Embry earlier on in the season, which is a tough blow for them. But Asheville, they have a chance to knock off and upset this Hokes Bluff team tomorrow night. So Asheville looking to upset some folks there. You have St. Clair County taking on Lincoln in a big region matchup there. So you've got a lot of teams playing this week. Most importantly, St. Clair County and Asheville for me. I'm a sideline reporter for St. Clair County, and then I also am an alumni of Asheville High School. So those are the 2 teams that are really important to me right now. But you've got a bunch of other teams playing in the county. You've got Springville as well. So I think that and Leeds too. Leeds was struggling a little bit ago. Now I think they've got their feet under them. 2 straight wins. So I think one was one win. Now you lost to Moody last week, but Moody is on a roll as usual. So high school football is kicking. It's up there. Locust Fork. I'm sorry. Locust Fork, not Hokes Bluff. My bad. Sorry, Kevin. But yeah, Dylan Embry plays for Locust Fork. Fantastic player. He's out for the season, unfortunately. I got the 2 green teams mixed up. But with Hokes Bluff, when it comes to Hokes Bluff, I saw a few weeks ago they did lose to Alexandria. Now, coming into this week, this will be interesting. And Kevin, that's why I don't cover high school football. That's why I don't have a Kevin says, "Don't pull a Kevin now." Kevin, that's why I don't cover high school sports like you, man, because you can do it. I clearly can't. Anyways, when it comes to college football this year, guys, you have the number 1 team in the country, Texas, versus number 5 team in the country, Georgia. One of the better games this weekend. I think that'll be a really fun one. How is Texas going to do? Because right now the tires are not falling off. And if you don't want your tires falling off, you need to go see J&K Tire in Still, Alabama. They can work with you on getting your tires rotated and balanced, whether you need an oil change. You can get alignments done, shocks, struts, oil changes, minor auto repairs, and brakes. Whatever you need, you can call Kurt and the guys at J&K Tire. That's 256-570-0777. That's Kurt Nassif at 256-570-0777. So call J&K and the guys. That's the guy. J&K rocks, Kevin Moore says. So I certainly think that this college football season has been interesting, and the way that things have led up until now, we have an interesting few weeks. How things will unfold is going to be a sight to see, because there's going to be some serious upsets over the next few weeks. And one of the teams I'm looking at right now, not necessarily for an upset watch. I think that Arkansas can do it, but Arkansas and LSU play this weekend. LSU is that 3-point favorite. What's going to happen with that game? That's an interesting game for one, because it's in Arkansas, and then 2, it's the game right after LSU they storm the field. They beat a really good Ole Miss team. How do you respond? Okay, you can't go into this game sleepwalking, because we all know how Arkansas is. The battle for the boot, you better not mess it up, because if you do, you're in for a rude awakening. You go into that game sleepwalking, you're in for a rude awakening. Kevin Moore says, got to run, man. I'll be listening in the morning. Kevin, absolutely. Hope you have a fantastic night, my man. Be good. Don't do nothing stupid, Kevin. Oklahoma State plays BYU this weekend. I've got BYU in that one. Unfortunately, Wisconsin and Northwestern. I'll take Wisconsin in that one. Texas State, Old Dominion. I'll go with Texas State. One of the more interesting games in the ACC is Duke and Florida State. I think that Duke will win that game. They are currently a 3-point favorite there. Virginia Tech breaking out the orange jerseys as they take on Boston College, and I will take the Virginia Tech Hokies in that game. Miami, you have Miami playing Louisville. They are going to Louisville. I think that Miami wins that game in a close one, and a lot of questions are about to pop up for Miami. Is this team actually as good as we said they were? You look at the last few games with them struggling with teams like California, it's just not going to fly. Virginia Tech as well. It's just not. That's not what the college football playoff is looking for, is teams that are going to struggle with 500 teams. So it's just not going to fly. Clemson, on the other hand, is off to a very, very hot start of the season. Although you lost to Georgia in the opener, now you're 5-1. You played some really nice ball. Cade Klubnik got 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the year, over a 66% completion percentage, sitting right at 68. So it's a decent year for the ACC. And SMU's right up there as well. SMU's in the top 25. You lost 1 game on the season. How do they fare off the rest of the season? Not too much of a tough schedule, but you've got California to round out the year as your rivalry game. But I think that the way that we are set up for the rest of the year in college football is going to be very interesting. You have Texas A&M playing Mississippi State over the weekend. Let's see how that one goes. Michael Van Buren just had a fantastic game against Georgia. So it'll be interesting to see how some of these teams play out, or some of these teams fare out, and we will see over the next few weeks. But as for now, I will be going. I know you're tired of listening to me talking. I appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Thank you to our sponsors, J&K Tire and Chick-fil-A Pell City. Once again, you can go down to J&K Tire in Steele, Alabama, and for your tires, brakes, oil changes, minor auto repairs, your shocks, alignments. You can call them at 256-570-0777. And then do not forget about Chick-fil-A night tomorrow night in Asheville, Alabama. You can go to the Asheville High School football game as they take on the Hoax Bluff Eagles. The Hoax Bluff Eagles come in not having a bad year. You lose to Alexandria a few weeks ago, but now you're not doing too bad. You're playing some really good ball in the season. So how can Asheville fare off against them? It'll be Chick-fil-A night in Asheville, Alabama. As for now, I'm Hayden Coker, and this is the Hayden Coker Show. Have a great weekend. Watch some football. Go to church. I love y'all, and God bless.